Hello students, welcome back to my channel. Now today I am making a video on a topic from class 9 biology, and this is from ICSE board. So today I am starting with the topic flower. This chapter is present in class 9. So this is the first part of this topic. So without wasting time, let's get started with the video. So at the first, we will know about the structure of the flower. Okay, and first of all, we will know about the first portion, that is the stalk. This is known as stalk. This is the stalk of the flower. Now this stalk is also known as pedicel. The stalk is also known as pedicel. Now this stalk or pedicel, whatever you say, what is the function? This stalk actually supports the flower. Now you may see that some flowers are without this stalk. In that case, the stalk is sessile. The stalk is not functional. In those flowers, the stalk is absent. Now the next part is the receptacle. You have seen this swollen portion. This is the receptacle. Now the tip of the flower stalk, okay, this is expanded in the form of cup-shaped receptacle, or it is also known as thalamus. So first a stalk is present, okay, and then the tip of the stalk is expanded in cup-shaped structure that is called receptacle or thalamus. Both actually have the more or less same function, that is they support flower, okay. Now next comes to the floral parts. Okay. Now floral parts are divided into 4 whorls. Whorls means layers, you can say. Layers. Like there are various fringes in a dancing frock. Like that. Whorls means layers. We will see what do you mean. What is the meaning of whorl? First whorl is the sepals. The first whorl is, this is the first whorl, the first layer, the sepals. Sepals are generally green in color. So the first layer is sepals. And all the sepals all together, that means collectively called calyx. So the first layer or the first whorl is the layer of sepals, green sepals. That is the first whorl or the first layer of a flower. And all the sepals, they are collectively or all together, they are known as calyx. Okay. Now comes the second whorl or the second layer. What is the second layer? Second layer is the brightly colored petals. This is the second layer. The colorful petals. Okay. Now the petals are all together collectively called corolla. So the first whorl or the first layer of the flower is sepals, collectively called calyx. The second whorl or the second layer of the flower is the colorful petals, and they are collectively called corolla. Fine. Now comes to the third whorl. Third whorl is the male part of the flower. Third whorl is the male part. This is the male part. This male part is known as stamen. Okay, they are collectively called stamen. See, this is a stamen. There is a filament, thread-like filament, and a bilobed anther. This is the filament and this is the anther. Altogether, the structure, the male part, is collectively called stamens or is known as androecium. Okay, this whole structure is known as stamen, and many stamens altogether forms androecium. This is a thread-like structure called filaments, and there is a two-lobed structure, bilobed structure, that is anther. Okay, so this whole thing is the male part of the flower, the stamen, and various stamens, 2 or more stamens altogether, it forms androecium. Androecium means the male portion of a flower. Clear? Now the last and the fourth whorl of the flower is the female part. This is the fourth portion or the fourth whorl. The female part. Female part is known as the pistil or carpel, you can say anything. Pistil or you can say carpel. Okay, this is the female part. So let's see the female part in detail. This is the structure of female part. Okay, this portion is stigma, this is style, this is ovary, and inside the ovary, see the green portion, this is ovule. Okay, so this whole structure along with the stigma, style, ovary and ovule, this whole portion is known as pistil or carpel. This is the female unit or the female part of the flower, and the pistil or the carpel altogether, it is known as gynoecium. That means the female part of a flower. Okay, and each carpel consists of a basal ovary, and there is a middle, there is a style, and at the uppermost part there is stigma. So at the base, ovary is present, then style, and then is a stigma, which is the uppermost part. So this is the gist of the structure of a flower. So first of all, as I have told you, there is a stalk, and stalk gets extended into a cup-shaped structure called receptacle or thalamus. This basically supports the flower. Now there are 4 floral parts. First whole is the sepals, collectively called calyx. Second whole is the petals, collectively called corolla. Third whole is the male part, which is known as stamen, okay, collectively called androecium, consisting of a thread-like filament and a bilobed anther. And the fourth and the final whole is the female part of the flower, that is the pistil or carpel, you can say, which consists of the ovary, style and stigma, collectively called gynoecium. Clear? Now comes to the complete flower and incomplete flower. Now complete flower is also known as the perfect flower. A perfect flower or complete flower is the flower in which it contains all the 4 floral structures. That means all the 4 whorls are present. Sepals, petals, the male part and the female part. Where all the 4 parts are present, there we will say that it's a perfect or the complete flower. And if any one of the part is missing, then we will say it's an incomplete flower. Okay? If any one part of floral structures is missing, then we will say that the flower is incomplete or imperfect flower. Okay? See, in this case, in case of complete flower, you have, see, this is the male part, stamens are present, and pistil, that means female portion. See, this structure is also present, this structure is also present. But in case of this particular flower, this is an incomplete or imperfect flower. See, only stamens are present. Only stamens are present. Only male parts, no female parts. So female parts are missing. That means this particular flower is imperfect or incomplete. So I think the difference between the complete and incomplete flower is absolutely clear. Now, there are certain parts of the flower which are essential parts. That means essential parts means those parts of the flower which are very much responsible for reproduction. These are the reproductive parts, without which a plant or a flower cannot reproduce. All these essential parts are directly concerned with reproduction, like the male and female parts. They both are concerned directly with reproduction. Okay? And there is another part that is non-essential or known as accessory parts. Okay? These are known as the accessory parts. That means they do not participate directly in reproduction, but they either protect the reproductive parts of the flower or they make the flower attractive so as to help them in pollination. So they protect. Clear? So the main function is this accessory or non-essential parts of the flower. What they do, they protect the flower or they protect the reproductive parts of the flower, or they make the flower attractive so that the insects get attracted towards the flower, which actually help in pollination. Clear? Now is the next three terms. What is perianth, what is petaloid, and what is sepaloid? See, what is perianth? First and foremost, now perianth means in some cases we will see that the petals and sepals are undifferentiated. The petals and sepals, we cannot differentiate them. They are not separated. They are undifferentiated. In that cases, we will say that it is called perianth, where the petals and sepals cannot be differentiated. They are undifferentiated. That condition is known as perianth. Then what is petaloid? When perianth is green in color, non-green in color. When perianth is non-green, just like, okay, sepals. When the perianth is non-green in color, we will call it as petaloid. Okay, this is not green. Just like the petals, it will be brightly colored. It is not green in color. When perianth is non-green, then we will term this as petaloid. And when this perianth is green in color, just like the sepals, okay, we will call it as sepaloid. So it's very easy. Whenever petals and sepals are undifferentiated, whenever they are not we cannot differentiate them, then we will term it as perianth. Whenever this perianth is non-green, brightly colored, just like the petals, we will term it as petaloid. Okay? And whenever this perianth is green in color, just like sepals, we will term this as sepaloid. Clear? Next is bracts. Now we often confuse bracts with leaves, but leaves and bracts are different. When a flower actually arises at the axil, that means at the top or tip of a leaf-like structure, we will call it as bract. See, this is the leaf-like structure, but that is not leaf. We will call it as bract. Why? Because at the tip of this bract, there is one flower in each of the tip. Axil means tip. Okay? Whenever at the tip of this leaf-like structure, axil, a flower arises, then we will call that structure as bract. Bract can be green, like ordinary leaves, or sometimes they are colored. As I have seen one example, shown example, this is an example of bougainvillea. Okay? They are large and colorful bracts of bougainvillea. Often they are mistaken as petal, but they are not petal. They consist of small flowers, see? At the axis, at the tip of these leaf-like structures, there are small flowers, white or yellowish flowers. So petals don't contain any flower. At the tip of the bracts, there are flowers. So these are not petals, they are not leaves, they are bracts, leaf-like structures, but at the tip or axil, there are flowers. Clear? So here I have shown one example, that is of bougainvillea, the large and the colorful bracts of bougainvillea. Okay? Now next is bisexual and unisexual flower. Okay? The bisexual and unisexual flower. See what we will say, a bisexual flower. A bisexual flower means what? Where both the sexes are present. That means both male, that is stamens, and female, that is pistil. Where both the portion is present, we will term it as bisexual or hermaphrodite flower. That means it contains both the part, male and the female. That type of flower we will call it as bisexual flower. For example, hibiscus. And unisexual flower means what? The flower which will contain only one sex. Only one, either the male or the female. It's an incomplete flower. Unisexual flower is a type of imperfect or incomplete flower because it consists of only one sex. One sex is missing. Either it will contain the female part or the male part. example is papaya. Okay, it's a unisexual flower. Clear? Now, before I move to the neuter flower, I would like to say that, see, beside this unisexual and bisexual flower, there are another two terms, staminate or male flower. That means a flower which only contains the stamens, the male portion. We will term it as staminate flower or male flower. And another one is the pistillate flower. I think you have understood this. Pistillate or female flower. That means the flower which will contain only the carpels, the female part. We will call it the pistillate flower, only the pistil portion. Okay. And one more thing that I would like to say, what are nectaries? This is important. What are nectaries? See, we have seen that most of the flowers, they produce a sweet fragrant. Okay, sweet fragrant liquid which we call nectar. The honeybees actually feed these nectars. Various pollinating agents, various insects, they come and they feed these nectars. They sit on the flowers and they feed on these nectars. Now these nectaries are the cells which actually secrete this sweet fragrant liquid nectar. These are the group of nectar secreting cells which are present at the base of the pistil or at the base of the petals. Okay, this is very important in case of pollination, because a flower which actually produce more and more nectar, then it will attract more and more honeybees, and so pollination rate will also increase. So this is a very short information that I have given you. Okay, and the last portion is the neuter flower. What is a neuter flower? See, I have given an example of sunflower. See, a flower in which both male and the female, both male and female reproductive organs are lacking or missing, we will term it as neuter flower. That means in this type of flower, neither male nor female, nothing, no sexual portion will be present. Both will be missing or lacking. Example is ray florets of sunflower. This yellow portion, not this disc floret, only this yellow portion. This yellow portion is the neuter flower. It doesn't have any female or the male part. Okay, so that is why only this yellow portion is the neuter flower, ray florets of sunflower. Okay, so this is it for today. I think whatever I have taught you, this is absolutely clear to you. If you have any problem from this portion, then please write it down in the comment section. I will definitely try to clear your doubts. And if you think that my videos are informative and they're helpful, then please share my videos and like my videos. And even if you don't subscribe to my channel yet, then please click the subscribe button and don't forget to click the bell icon for getting the notifications of the new videos. And thank you for watching my video and stay tuned to my channel for more such videos.